And
Okay.
if you want to pull
Al
up your
Jazeera.
articles in a second tab, you will be able to do that and still read, and the audio and stuff will still cover for you. And I'll just scroll as we're reading over here.
So I won't be able to see it like I normally do?
I don't know. If you can see the where we're talking and have the layout, you should be
Oh,
able to. I don't know how large it's going to be. That's where you might want to pull up
right.
it in a second tab, and
Sure.
if you want to read it from there, and I'll just pull it up on my side and scroll as you read so they can see it. That is something.
Okay.
We have an Arby in the chat room.
Hey, Arby.
Oh
Hope
my
you're
God, I
doing
am so
okay.
congested. I apologize. There we are. I've got us ready to roll, other than sending out the links to
All
the
right.
show.
We'll give it 1 second while I try to do this as well.
Hmm. And then I will get the first videos and stuff pulled up
Okay.
so you can
What I actually have,
enjoy
Crazy B,
this.
is I
Oh, are you back? Or was it me? Oh, are you there, Dee? Are you there now? Oh, bugger. I think I'm going to have to leave. I think it was my end. I'll be right back. Oh, oh my God. She must have not been able to hear me. Sorry. I'm not sure what's going on. That's weird. Okay, this is weird. Where'd D go? Um, D, are you back? No, she's not. Hold on. Yeah, I don't know where she is. It might be there. She was on her computer, so it might be just a little bit of a glitch moment. Hold on, I just got a DM. Oh nope, not D. Okay. Um, I'm sure she'll be in a minute. I apologize, folks. I'm getting this info sent out. Hi, can you hear me now?
Hello?
It was me who couldn't hear you. That's why I left, and I was coming back.
Oh my gosh.
And
That
then
was a
you left,
nightmare.
and I come back to you being
Yep.
gone, and it's like, it was just me. I needed to go. Uh,
Oh my lord, you
there's
can't
going to be
make this
some
up.
glitches. Well, we're getting used to this and getting
Oh,
it together.
yeah. Yes, there's gonna be
Uh,
a lot of glitches. So we're live?
as of right now,
We are
yes,
li
and we have been for a bit. We've got Blue Rose, Art,
okay then.
Arby.
Hey, Blue. Hey, Art. Hi, Arby again. Alright, today is Thursday, October the 2nd at 7:12 PM Eastern Standard Time, and this is Miss D experiencing technical difficulties as she gets all of her laptop, hub, new keyboard, new mouse, trying to get the old television to be a monitor, but I need the clicker to make that work. So we spent the afternoon and the new microphone's up and running.
Yep.
So I did all of that after the baby left, and we spent him and I the entire day, don't tell anybody, from 10:30 to almost after 3 o'clock sleeping, the two of
Good for
us,
you. Get
on
that
the
nap
couch,
in.
passed out. He had gotten shots yesterday, so he wasn't feeling too well. Gave him a little bit of Tylenol. He had apples and granola for breakfast, a bottle, and my man was out.
I don't
So,
blame him.
yep. So we got a new keyboard that's finally, I got for old people, the large keys with a backlight to it so that you can actually
Yep.
see what you're typing, what letters, what numbers, because the hands don't work the way they used to. So, but we'll get there. But with that being
One thing
said,
at a
now,
time.
yes, now the studio looks completely different for me, uh, from what I'm used to. So now I have
Hmm.
to get used to this version, but we'll get there.
Yep. A little bit at a
So,
time.
so we're actually sitting in the office. I did have the heater on, but I think I had too much electrical current going into the little itty bitty power plug and it blew a fuse. So, oh well.
It happens.
Yep. And then I even made dinner. Surprisingly, however, I only got two tiny little bones and no meat. Now you explain that to me, but
Magic.
I guess I guess I just can't ask questions. I just cook it, right?
True.
Mhm. Anyway, so you and I didn't connect up at all today till you were going in the car wash,
Hmm. Yep.
and
But
then
that was okay.
and then and then so we decided that I didn't have to take a shower since we went through the car wash,
It works.
right?
I like that
It
idea.
worked. Uh-huh. So, other than that, what did you do today?
I twiddled around the house. I went to the Walmart and then went through the car wash, then got home. And my daughter just made me chicken nuggets and french fries for dinner. But instead of
Mhm.
putting the sauce and the nuggets and the fries all on one plate, I get a divider
Mhm.
plate for the sauce and a glass plate for the chicken nuggets and the fries. I love it. So I'm holding two plates here while trying to do the live. It is so funny. I love my kids. But we are
Oh,
mixing sea salted caramel ice cream with butter pecan ice cream for dessert.
oh, that sounds good. And you also
Yeah.
got mint chocolate chip too,
Yeah, but that
right?
doesn't go good with either of those
I
other
know.
ones. So
I
we're
know.
just going to leave that as is and have that
I
for
know.
whatever.
Right. I'll take any of those actually. Probably in any combination too, so
Hmm.
we're down for that. So, why don't we get started? I'm not sure what I'll be able to read or not read. Go I can pull up the articles from what I sent you or the videos. But I tried
The
to log
videos you
in.
shouldn't have a problem with, but
Right.
reading might be an issue.
Yeah. So I tried to get back into the studio as well on the tablet. It will only let you logged in one place at a time. So
Yeah.
that was a little bit, we might want to do something about that. So,
Yep.
all right.
So
Oh, so I see your end broadcast thing that you talk about.
yes, that's what we hit when we're done. I try to
Okay.
avoid going near it with my mouse until
Mm-hmm.
we're actually done because, that would
Okay.
be bad.
Right. So then the comments that are in the chat, I just have to click on that area, right?
If
So
you
we have
want
like,
to pin a comment, all you got to do is click on it. So go ahead and click on a comment,
okay,
and
hold
you'll get
on.
to pin your first comment in here.
Well, the problem is trying to get to the comment. It it's zoomed in so big crazy B, it's going to be a problem.
We'll get that fixed later.
Yeah, that's going to be a little bit of an issue. Hold on, I don't know if this makes a difference. Because hold on, I might kick us out completely. Please bear with us. Today is probably messed up whatever day. Okay, that
Thursday.
didn't do any. Yeah, that didn't do anything. Mia. Nope, not a thing. Alrighty then. Well,
Is
we'll just
yours
go back.
touch screen? Because if it's touch screen, you can just tap.
No,
I can't remember if it was touch screen or not.
no, it's not. No. But the mouse and the keyboard are definitely a whole
Okay.
lot better than the damn cursor movie, if you doodle. If I take my side off
All
of
right.
studio, if I take my side off of studio mode, does that mess up your side?
Yes, it does.
Okay, then I guess I won't do that.
Yeah.
She said,
But you'll
no,
still be able
no.
to see and hear everything the way you're supposed to. Because the way I have it set up is one side is larger than the other because you only need to see one side.
Right. So I can hit the transition button.
And it would transition stuff if I put something up. Like, here, watch this. So I'll turn this on. Um, and then you can hit transition,
Okay.
and there it goes. It's on the other side. So now everyone can see where that we're going to finish the video from
Okay.
yesterday
Got it.
as our first
Okay,
go to.
cool. Okay,
Uh-huh.
cool. All right, that's cool. All right, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, the comments are so teeny tiny. You guys look like you
If
don't even.
if you could get your mouse over it, you could hover over it, and there's a little magnifying thing that makes it larger to read.
Uh, and it does not.
It should.
Okay, we'll mess with it later.
Yeah.
All right, let's get started. Since I held everybody up, I apologize.
Oh no,
It's
it's all
gonna
right.
take a while. Yeah, it's gonna take a while to get used to. Oh, look here! Now all of a sudden the comments popped up. Mhm.
If you want, I
Okay,
can
cool.
enlarge the comment. Oh no, that doesn't make them larger. It just makes them smaller
No.
and longer. Okay. Yep. I thought I
Oh
could,
yeah.
but I can't.
Yeah,
So,
that's okay. All right,
all right.
let's get started then. We'll hit it.
All righty, here we go.
Expecting that warfighters in combat jobs execute their service fitness test at a gender-neutral, age-normed male standard scored above 70%. It all starts with physical fitness and appearance. If the Secretary of War can do regular, hard PT, so can every member of our joint force. Frankly, it's tiring to look out at combat formations, or really any formation, and see fat troops. Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon and leading commands around the country and the world. It's a bad look. It is bad, and it's not who we are. So whether you're an airborne ranger or a chairborne ranger, A brand new private or a 4-star general, you need to meet the height and weight standards and pass your PT test. And as the chairman said, yes, there is no PT test. But today, at my direction, every member of the Joint Force at every rank is required to take a PT test twice a year, as well as meet height and weight requirements twice a year, every year of service. Also today, at my direction, every warrior across our Joint Force is required to do PT every duty day. Should be common sense. I mean, most units do that already, but we're codifying it. And we're not talking like hot yoga and stretching. Real hard PT, either as a unit or as an individual. At every level, from the Joint Chiefs to everyone in this room to the youngest private, leaders set the standard. And so many of you do this already. Active, Guard, and Reserve. This also means grooming standards. No more beards, long hair, superficial individual expression. We're going to cut our hair, shave our beards, and adhere to standards. Because it's like the broken windows theory of policing. It's like when you let the small stuff go, the big stuff eventually goes. So you have to address the small stuff. This is on duty, in the field, and in the rear. If you want a beard, you can join Special Forces. If not, then shave. We don't have a military full of Nordic pagans. But unfortunately, we have had leaders who either refuse to call BS and enforce standards, or leaders who felt like they were not allowed to enforce standards. Both are unacceptable. And that's why today, at my direction, the era of unprofessional appearance is over. No more beardos. The era of rampant and ridiculous shaving profiles is done. Simply put, if you do not meet the male-level physical standards for combat positions, cannot pass a PT test, or don't want to shave and look professional, it's time for a new position or a new profession. I sincerely appreciate the proactive efforts the secretaries have already taken in some of those areas, service secretaries. And these directives are intended to simply accelerate those efforts. On the topic of standards, allow me a few words to talk about toxic leaders. Upholding and demanding high standards is not toxic. Enforcing high standards, not toxic leadership. Leading warfighters toward the goals of high, gender-neutral, and uncompromising standards in order to forge a cohesive, formidable, and lethal Department of War is not toxic. It is our duty, consistent with our constitutional oath. Real toxic leadership is endangering subordinates with low standards. Real toxic leadership is promoting people based on immutable characteristics or quotas instead of based on merit. Real toxic leadership is promoting destructive ideologies that are an anathema to the Constitution and the laws of nature and nature's God, as Thomas Jefferson wrote in the Declaration of Independence. The definition of toxic has been turned upside down, and we're correcting that. That's why today, at my direction, we're undertaking a full review of the department's definitions of so-called toxic leadership, bullying, and hazing, to empower leaders to enforce standards without fear of retribution or second-guessing. Of course, you can't do like nasty bullying and hazing. We're talking about words like bullying and hazing and toxic. They've been weaponized and bastardized inside our formations, undercutting commanders and NCOs. No more. Setting, achieving, and maintaining high standards.
I got to pause there. It also undermines the whole point of the drill sergeants who are teaching you how to be a soldier. They have to tear you down to build you back up. And so, yeah, the drill sergeants need to be able to give you a lot of hell. Dee, I'm not sure if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Oh, bugger, she can't hear me. One moment. Or maybe it's I can't hear her. We're about to find out. Yeah, there's a difference between hazing and doing what a drill sergeant's supposed to do of tear you down to build you back up. There is a difference. Hazing is what idiots do in college. Hi, Dee. Can you hear me now?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a difference. I was explaining the drill sergeants aren't hazing. And if people are hazing, then there's a serious problem. But to tear people down to build them up is kind of a requirement in order to make a decent, self assured, self confident soldier who's not constantly second guessing himself.
And isn't that what boot camp is for?
Yeah, but drill sergeants weren't allowed to name call and stuff anymore.
Right.
They cut most of that out. It's like, well, how are they supposed to do their jobs? I mean, they were called bullies and hazing. And again, there is such a thing as hazing. I'm not even going to deny that. Um, they can get worse with time. Yeah, I know. But there has to be a degree of, you got to toughen up. You can't come in and cry over words and be a soldier being interrogated because you got captured and just sit there and bawl over words. I mean, they got to break you down and build you back somehow. It's like, this isn't kindergarten, it's the military. Quit being a whiny bitch.
Yep. I don't think Gomer Pyle, did he ever make it?
I'm sorry.
Did Gomer Pyle ever make it?
I believe, no, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I think he ended himself, if I remember correctly.
That's fun.
If you don't know the movie reference, um, yeah, go watch the movies. We'll put it up in the Discord. I don't want to get in trouble for referencing something that may or may not get us kicked off of YouTube.
There. Well, I'm talking about Gomer Pyle USC from way back in the 40s and 50s, and Sergeant Payne.
Okay, maybe I am mixing movies then.
This was a
Movies and
series.
shows.
This was a
Oh,
series.
okay, no, I was thinking Full Metal Jacket, that one dude
I
that was kind of gumpy
right.
and took himself
Yes.
out. I
Yes, I
must have
know what
been,
you mean. Right.
yeah. So then I got them mixed up. My bad.
No problem. I'm just saying. I wonder if Gomer Pyle U.S. I think he was. Was he in the Marines? I can't remember what service he was in, but for some reason he could never make it. Oh, oh, oh! Almost done. Almost.
I'm not saying bring back torturing the new cadets. I am not saying to bring that back. But there has to be a degree of
Well,
tearing
there has to
down
be
to build up.
discipline, and yeah, there has to be discipline and real.
But it has to be strict standards on it. You can't just let it be free reign.
Right.
Like, and again, that was part of the problem with the military back in the day, is it was really bad and they cut back on it, but then it cut back so far it became kindergarten. Oh, did that hurt your feelings?
Right. And
Stuff.
meanwhile, you're going to be captured and tortured or worse, or
They'll just spill right
yeah.
away.
Uh huh.
It's a security risk.
Right. Oh, you want
And
the
so
you want the codes, you want the maps, you want what our plan is. Here you go.
just don't say something mean to me. Yeah.
Yes. Please be nice.
And again, I get the standards were changed, but down to the fact that they couldn't even verbally tear them down was overboard. You have to be careful what you say, because if you misgender the person in the military, it got really out of control, is what I heard last. It was really out of control. It went way too far in the opposite direction. And like I
Yep.
said, I don't agree with brutally torturing cadets. I do not agree with it. That those
Well,
standards had to have been changed. Those were way overboard. But
I,
you can't coddle your soldiers either when it comes to words. Like, seriously. You can't. I mean,
I
words are the
see.
least violent option they have.
I think that they should do those. What was the survival series that was on TV that they put you with no clothes in the middle of some
That
desert
that was
jungle?
so staged. When the cameras weren't rolling, they
I
did
know,
have warm clothing on.
I know.
That doesn't even count.
But they need to have some serious training in, for example, what do you do when
And
you
if
go to
I
the desert?
remember correctly, the military does do that.
Yeah, what do you do if you're in a desert situation? What do you do if you're in a cold climate situation versus a jungle? All
Yeah,
this training
each
needs to be
no, they
conducted.
do have training where they dump
I
them in the desert or in the woods or in that. Yeah, they do.
right,
That is something that is done. They are given bare minimum supplies for like 2 days, and they got to figure out how to go from there.
right. I don't think that's unreasonable.
That's something that's been being done for a while. I mean, they did that back when, um, for certain branches, especially in the areas they were likely to be stationed, they would do that.
Right,
In World War II, they were doing that. My grandfather had to go through similar. Yeah, that's something that's definitely been done. The survival training. So, all right. Art says, yeah, but it sounds like Hegseth wants the old standards. Um, Art says that's called Ranger School. Oh, well, I know other people, other branches have done it. The SEALs have done it. And depending on your um, MOS, they might do it as well. I'd have to look into it, but Art says that it sounds like Hexess wants the old standard, which is not isn't the best plan either. Yeah, there's such a thing as common ground, middle ground. In the middle, you don't got to go to an extreme one way or the other, and that's where I think they should land. And I hope he doesn't do anything stupid. Because I remember watching GI Jane and shows like that and movies like that back in the day. Watched Full Metal Jacket. I know exactly what the old shit was. Um, it's not okay. It's not that level is not okay. I'll tell you, it's brutal. The older versions before the DEI stuff came in, and they started the hand holding and the teddy bear hugging over words. So okay. Are we ready to continue?
mm-hmm.
Alrighty, let's get through the last 8 minutes and I'll try not to interrupt.
Standards is what you all do. And if that makes me toxic, then so be it. Second, today at our direction, we're ensuring that every service, every unit, every schoolhouse, and every form of professional military education conduct an immediate review of their standards. Now, we've done this in many places already, but today it goes across the entire Department of War. Any place where tried and true physical standards were altered, especially since 2015 when combat arms standards were changed to ensure females could qualify, must be returned to their original standard. Other standards have been manipulated to hit racial quotas as well, which is just as unacceptable. This too must end. Merit only. The president talks about it all the time, merit-based. Here are two basic frameworks I urge you to pursue in this process. Standards I call, my staff's heard all about them, the 1990 test and the E6 test. The 1990s test is simple. What were the military standards in 1990? And if they have changed, tell me why. Was it a necessary change based on the evolving landscape of combat? Or was the change due to a softening, weakening, or gender-based pursuit of other priorities? 1990s seems to be as good a place to start as any. And the E6 test. Ask yourself, does what you're doing make the leadership, accountability, and lethality efforts of an E6, or frankly an O3, does it make it easier or more complicated? Does the change empower staff sergeants, petty officers, and tech sergeants to get back to basics? The answer should be a resounding yes. The E6 test, or O3 test, clarifies a lot, and it clarifies quickly. Because war does not care if you're a man or a woman. Neither does the enemy. Nor does the weight of your rucksack, the size of an artillery round, or the body weight of a casualty on the battlefield who must be carried. This, and I want to be very clear about this is not about preventing women from serving. We very much value the impact of female troops. Our female officers and NCOs are the absolute best in the world. But when it comes to any job that requires physical power to perform in combat, those physical standards must be high and gender neutral. If women can make it, excellent. If not, it is what it is. If that means no women qualify for some combat jobs, so be it.
I can agree with this.
That is not the intent, but it could be the result. So be it. It will also mean that weak men won't qualify because we're not playing games. This is combat. This is life or death. As we all know, this is you versus an enemy hell-bent on killing you. To be an effective, lethal fighting force, you must trust that the warrior alongside you in battle is capable, truly physically capable of doing what is necessary under fire. You know this is the only standard you would want for your kids and for your grandkids. Apply the War Department Golden Rule, the 1990 test, and the E6 test, and it's really hard to go wrong. Third, we are attacking and ending the walking on eggshells and zero defect command culture. A risk-averse culture means officers execute not to lose instead of to win. A risk-averse culture means NCOs are not empowered to enforce standards. Commanders and NCOs don't take necessary risks or make tough adjustments for fear of rocking the boat or making mistakes. A blemish-free record is what peacetime leaders covet the most, which is the worst of all incentives. We, as senior leaders, need to end the poisonous culture of risk aversion and empower our NCOs at all levels to enforce standards. Truth be told, for the most part, we don't need...
Yeah, I want to know what he means by enforced standards. So kind of like what Art was saying. There isn't really a middle ground in the military. They always love extremes, but I want to know.
Well,
Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, and depending on what it is, I will tell you from a HR perspective, you do not want to hire somebody that has that perfect, unblemished resume. That shows that that person has not taken any risks, has not suffered any consequence or significant setback, that shows growth and learning. If you just have somebody come in with this perfect, I've never done anything wrong record,
That's a red flag.
that's correct. It's a red flag. It's like, why? What didn't you do? What should you have done? And I don't necessarily
If
know
you've never
why
been disciplined or talked to on the job, that means something's wrong. You're an ass kisser or something.
not necessarily that you have a discipline in your record as much as in your performance or your standards. That's where that would come in. Your disciplinary action record is something separate from what your resume or the standards or performance that I believe he's talking about. That
like you could do better, and I have to talk to you to tell you to do better.
Correct. Like say, I can't carry 25 pounds and you want me to carry 50 pounds and you call me in and you're like, D, we're going to try to make you help achieve to get to 50 pounds. What did you do to do that? You know what I mean? And it was I went through a series of, I added 5 pounds on, then it was 10 pounds, and, I
Well, a
marched and did
perfect
whatever.
real world example was me getting chewed out by a doctor. We're talking almost a drill sergeant chewed out because I didn't take a phone message the correct way that he liked it.
Right.
It happens. Did I cry over it? No. I
Mhm.
just changed how I took the messages for him specifically and made sure I put in the details he asked for. I learned my lesson and I improved.
Right.
So, that's what you do. It's a great example. Yeah, I had to learn what that specific doctor preferred, what information he wanted. You couldn't just take patient's name, date of birth, and this medication needed a refill. He wanted phone numbers and address and all this other stuff thrown in there, and which pharmacy and all this other stuff, even though it was in the patient's record.
Right. He wanted to
But he
see.
still wanted it in the note, so he
Hmm.
didn't have to go into the patient's record.
Right.
Yes. Art says the guy with an unblemished record is called a general in the military. They are very political and are all appointed by their all appointed to their positions, so they haven't earned it.
Right.
Yeah, and that's a scary thing.
I mean, I
If
would
you've
hope that
never
you would.
suffered consequences and you're now heading an entire division of the military, uh-uh. I don't know if I'd like that. And I don't know if you saw Arby put mohawks for everyone. You missed that part for
Yeah,
the
I saw that.
haircuts.
Yeah.
I just find it freaking hilarious. Oh, all right. 3 more minutes. But yeah, I also want to know what he means by corrective measures. Is this we flog them at dawn in the bear at the what are those stockades? Do we flog them for a screwed up message, or do we just give them a warning? I mean, what does he mean by enforcing standards?
Well, he's saying to go back to 1990. That's where we need to start.
He said he was saying that for the fitness, and
Hmm.
I don't know if he means the 1990s um, enforcement either. So this is again where it's a gray zone without very much detail, and that kind of leaves it open for interpretation.
But he did say earlier on that there'll be further meetings that will clarify specifics. So I
Okay.
think this was just a generality.
Well, I pray to God he gives some clarifications of no, you do not get to flog them in the stockades at dawn until noon, making it a 6 hour flogging type of thing. No, that's uncalled for. That is over the
Well, we don't
top.
know
I
that
mean,
yet.
again,
Yeah,
we
right.
the next question is where in the 1990s, because that's when the standards changed too. Yeah, he wants to go back beyond Obama's teddy bear hugging military rules. Um, so yeah, I want to know a little bit more. I know my dad absolutely supports what this guy's saying, but my dad also went through boot camp and all that during Vietnam. So if my dad survived it, I'm sure he thinks others will too. So, you're assuming he meant the 1990s. Maybe it was the 1790s or the 1890s.
Hmm.
Uh-huh, Arby? Those standards were different still.
Right.
Those were more of a hodgepodge thrown together farmers. There was an 80-year-old man who fought in the Revolutionary War. I posted a thing about it in our history being erased because it's been forgotten. There was an 80-year-old man who was bayoneted, beaten, shot, left for dead, and lived another 18 years after surviving it.
Hmm.
So, yeah, where's our standards? So, all right, let me hit play because I want to get us through the list we have going. So, but yeah, I do want to know what he means by enforcement. So, let's see if he says. Probably not.
Need new standards. We just need to reestablish a culture where enforcing standards is possible. And that's why today, at my direction, I'm issuing new policies that will overhaul the IG, EO, and MEO processes. I call it the No More Walking on Eggshells policy. We are liberating commanders and NCOs. We are liberating you. We are overhauling an inspector general process, the IG, that has been weaponized, putting complainers, ideologues, and poor performers in the driver's seat. We're doing the same with the equal opportunity and military equal opportunity policies, the EO and MEO at our department. No more frivolous complaints, no more anonymous complaints, no more repeat complainants,
I
no
have
more
an issue
smearing
with
reputation.
anonymous complaints. Um, that can get people killed. Sometimes putting a name on it if it gets leaked out, especially in certain circumstances. I can. They want the problem fixed without being known that they're the one who said it needs to be fixed.
You have
I don't like that he's taking away the anonymity of a complaint, especially if it's a serious complaint and it's been investigated and found to be factual.
I don't
Um,
think he's going to minimize. I think what he's saying is that they're not going to be frivolous ones, are not going to be brought to the forefront, is how I'm taking it.
but he also said no anonymous complaints.
Well, I I roll by two factions on that. I've been on both sides of the fence of that, and I kind of agree with him in that if you have in place excellent HR or military resources to back you, you should be able to go in person. Other people have gotten into serious trouble by anonymous complaints being filed that are not true.
Well, that's why it would have to be investigated. And if it is found true,
Well, that usually means then that whoever brings the case is involved somehow. So
usually it's
people,
a victim. If it's some kind of excessive force or an abuse or an assault, then they should have the right to say, hey, I want this fixed without it bouncing back on me and me getting beat up or killed for it.
so you're saying that they bring that forward and they're going to get killed in the military.
It could happen. It's not unheard of. Getting their asses beat for reporting something and they get beat to death, it has happened.
Well, I don't disagree with them. I think if you're going to say it, put your name to it.
That's what Art's saying
Otherwise,
too. He agrees with you.
yeah,
If you're
otherwise,
going to complain, you might as well have to disclose who you are because you will have to if they choose to go after that guy.
right. And if there's some type of litigation, you will be involved. If they were going to kick the guy out of the military or whatever, you will be involved in some type of court action. So you never, whenever you try to, whenever you think you're going to be anonymous in turning in a complaint, you never truly are. You will always be involved in it somehow, some way.
There's got to be a way to protect the person, though.
Mm.
That's my thing.
I mean,
Do you know how many women
if
have
some,
never come forward with assault claims out of fear of retaliation in the military? I know
yeah, and I'm
two.
sure there are men too. And see, you just proved my point. And we've had this discussion before.
Because of the
There,
fear of retribution
then they
from these
shouldn't,
people.
right, then
And
they shouldn't be there. Women should not be in the military then.
but again, you're letting someone do something horrific, and the higher ups aren't really going to do anything about it except
Then
talk
you're
to
making
them.
an assumption.
Or,
You're making assumptions.
well, that's what I was told. That's what their excuse was.
Yeah, you're making
That's
assumptions
what they
on
told.
that.
No, it's what they said, that they went, why they didn't report it as retaliation, and nothing was probably going to get done.
Yeah,
They
and that's
just
an assumption on their part. They did nothing about it. They made the decision not to push it forward. And so that is something they have to live with because they never took it to a higher level to get it resolved. People that are in higher level positions, I know a lot of things about a lot of people from an HR perspective that I maintained confidentiality about. And when you bring something like an assault case, or I had batter women, I had assaults in the facility that occurred, when that's brought forward, it's my responsibility to then do an investigation. And if it rises to a level that is greater than myself, I would bring outside counsel in if necessary.
but the military doesn't do that. That's not their, they don't run things like a company or a
They
business.
do have they do have, commanding
Oh
officers.
yeah, but
They
those
have
commanding officers don't want to deal with anything that they it could make them look bad, that it happened under their watch. I mean,
well,
look at all the
those
shit that happened in Afghanistan during Bush's era. Look at all the prisoners who were horribly mistreated, and it got swept under the rug because it made them look bad.
well, I mean, that is the whole purpose of having the right people in the right place and having your good commanders, your good COs, your good supervisors, your good drill sergeants. I don't know all their titles or anything, but they have a hierarchy that they can follow, and if you don't want one, you can skip and go to the other. But if something is occurring that you're aware of, if I know, for example, you're getting assaulted or whatever, you know, it's either I could take it forward or I could, and I'm your friend or whatever, I could take it forward or I could keep my mouth shut if you don't want to do it. But if you choose not to act on something that happens uh, because of a perceived notion or conception,
Or
I
the fact
can't.
that it's happened to other people before who've reported and nothing has happened, and the word gets around from the women that it's pointless because they ain't going to do shit. That's
Then
not an
that's all
assumption.
the
That's
more
a
reason,
track
and they
record.
can all get together and they can do a class action thing. They can all get together and file a complaint as one unit. It doesn't have to be an individual. There's more than one way to skin this cat. So, whatever the issue was, I don't know the specifics to it, but I can tell you there's ways around it. And the problem, again, with being anonymous, I understand what you're saying. A complaint comes in, and should it be looked at or shouldn't it be? I never threw it under the rug. I always took a look at it. But remember, when you bring it and it becomes legit, you are now involved.
And
So,
well, okay, so maybe give the name to the person, but they keep it anonymous during the investigation and all that.
yeah, that can
Is
be
that
done.
really hard? But does the military really ever keep it anonymous?
Does anybody ever really keep it anonymous? Does any company really do?
Not really.
That's correct.
Even if they promise you anonymity, very
That's
few
correct.
actually do it.
That is correct.
And that's why a lot of people don't bother coming forward because while the investigation's going on, they don't want retribution.
Hmm. And typically, what'll happen is, uh, well, there's a couple things. It could be that that person's a troublemaker and we want the retribution to happen, that I want you out. You know what I mean? You could be a troublemaker from the get
If
for
it shows that there was nothing to the complaint, then that person gets punished for
correct,
false accusation.
correct.
But if
Absolutely.
their name is out there while this investigation's happening, there's nothing to protect them.
No, there's supposed to be safeguards in place, but I can't make promises for any of it. There are no guarantees in any of this.
Well, Art said that they could send the person complaining to another command post pending the outcome,
But
but that
usually
doesn't stop what
no.
happened in the first place.
And usually what happens in those particular cases is if I pick Art up from my unit and I move him to your unit for, say, 10 days or a month or whatever, everybody knows something is up because I moved Art from D to B, right?
Yeah.
So you typically just want to leave things in place unless they're
Well,
so
that's why he
egre-
said pending the outcome.
yeah, unless they're so egregious that they have to be moved, right? For safety reasons. But other than that, you know, an investigation is normally conducted, and most people don't even know what the heck is going on, really.
And Art has another good point. All complaints are handled within your chain of command. So if the in the military, so if the perpetrator is so the perpetrator is going to find out if they're in the chain anyway.
Yeah.
So there
So
is
if
no
it's
anonymity in
right,
that point.
right,
And then they could get demoted, harassed, assaulted
and
more,
that could be for anybody. That just isn't women. That's any male. That's any man that's in there as well. It's men and women. Once 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 a company or the military or whatever identifies you as a problem or complainant or whatever,
or they label
usually
you as a problem for pointing out the problem and you get punished for complaining and then you to just keep your mouth shut.
well, I've
That
never
happens too.
yeah,
That's happened at workplaces.
yeah, I've never permitted that to
That actually happened to me when I found the Medicare fraud, and the billing. I got bumped out of billing at that
right.
point. Kind of funny how that works.
Well, that's because that was fraud at
A
that point.
higher up who was committing the fraud and
That
didn't
was fraud
like
at
me
that point.
catching it.
Exactly.
So, same thing if it's in the military. A higher up is just going to label you the problem and move you.
Right.
And then you have it on your record of false complaints and all this stuff when actually it was a legitimate complaint.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Many people have many comments or whatever on their record. For example, if you think that you have the right to look at your personnel file, some companies do, some companies don't. But you don't want to know how I kept my files, and I won't divulge how I kept them. But
Yeah.
let me just tell you that when you asked to see your personnel file, you didn't see everything.
Isn't that
So
illegal?
it is not.
Oh,
It is not.
really?
It is not.
It should be.
It
I
is.
want to know what the hell y'all had to say about me.
It is not. So there were one person had at least four. Each person had a minimum of four files attached to their names. It used to be everything was kept together, hodgepodged by date, and then that all got. I changed all that. So Yeah. And there are different reasons for it. Uh, Personnel file was strictly for your personnel record, your performance standards, what your goals were for the year. Every year you had different goals that you had to meet. It just was not the same thing that, oh, I could type 25 words a minute on a particular document. It might be this year you have to be able to get a contract with a coffee company, and that was your goal for the whole year. You had to contact somebody, get bids, quotes, whatever, and negotiate a coffee company to come in. Somebody else might have a marketing program that they had to achieve. So every employee had a minimum of six, in addition to what your job description said. You had a minimum of six goals, new goals every year that you had to meet.
See, our job never had anything like that.
Yeah, and
Most
that
of the jobs I've ever worked have never had anything like
yeah,
that.
and that included training and development. You had up to 30 hours of training development credits that you had to take if you were had a certification. You know, we went from janitorial all the way up to PhD level, so some of them had to be credentialed. It included travel time, you know, to go to. I told you I traveled the country doing different things. Um, You know, I even had a thing where I had to go and help another association get set up in their HR department. So um, that was one of my goals, and I went and spent a week there. Um, Another job I had, you know, required me to be up in Massachusetts to do certain types of training. So it all depends. A lot of companies do, I think, a bad job in what the expectations of employees should be. And I think if they're clear cut and everybody knows what is expected of them, and if you don't meet your qualifications, then you always got a chance. Actually, you had two chances before I would terminate you um, to improve your performance. And if that didn't work out, then it was goodbye. But
Yeah.
you know, it would be nice. I would hope that the military, you know, based on what I've seen and who I know that's been in it. Uh, my uncle was in the Air Force. A friend is in the Navy. I know they have pretty strict standards as far as the chain of command goes. Like you can't skip one to go to the other. So you know, with the assault cases,
It's not like skipping the HR and going straight to
right,
the district manager.
right. And I mean, well, you can do it. I mean, you had the right to even go to the CEO if you wanted to, right?
Yeah, but in the military,
Yeah,
no,
you're
you
not
got to
going.
go to the
Yeah, you're not
lowest
going to get
level
Pete
and hope
Hegseth.
that they
Yeah,
do what you need.
yeah. But I would hope. And what happens then when things aren't meant at the military? Then you get the leaks to the media and to the press, and that's where that stuff comes in. When things don't get accomplished the way somebody wants them to, then you know, here's a
And
case.
that's dangerous in itself as well.
Exactly. Exactly. That's scary as all hell.
And that's where the military is completely different. It's not like if you leak on a CEO's company that what's been going on, where with the military, yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
dangerous to do.
Mm-hmm. Well, even the CEOs are dangerous. Look at the CEO of the drug company that got shot.
I
Uh,
know.
you know, so depending on uh, who it is and what you're doing, it's some of it is dangerous. You know, the military I think is probably more so, uh, especially for those you heard him say. If women can't meet the standard, they're out. Nothing against them. We've had this discussion before, but now he's also included and is referencing the men that aren't going to be able to meet the standard. And what is that going to mean, and how many of them is it going to affect? How many
A
cannot
lot,
fit? That's
a
what I'm.
lot right
Yeah,
now
that's what I'm.
until they can get the farmer boys back coming
Yeah,
in.
that's what I'm curious. And then what are they going to do with them? Just let them go, or?
Oh yeah, if you don't meet standards, adios and good riddance. It was nice knowing you. Sorry, but you didn't meet the standards. Thank you for trying.
Wow.
That's what it was back when I was even looking into joining.
Mm-hmm.
If I would not have been able to keep up with the men, I would have been booted out. This
Mm-hmm.
is in 2000, 2001.
Right.
So, yeah, when I was looking into joining, that's exactly what would have happened if I couldn't keep up.
Now I'm reading Art's question. Last his comment.
Oh, here,
Art. I,
I'll pull it up so you can see it a
no,
little
no.
better.
The yeah. I would have had to counsel you about picking your teeth with a knife uh in the in the workplace. That would have been a dangerous situation. So you would have been told at least go pick them in the bathroom with your knife. Then he says, or perhaps 1 out of 10 people who know about the situation in the military and know exactly who would know. Arby says,
Oh, here.
sounds to me like we should just replace the people with bots. They don't care about hair grooming standards. Could we? I think bots could have beards, though, can't they?
I mean, fake ones.
Mm-hmm. And I think they're going for drones anyway, right? The drone situation. I'm not sure.
Hmm.
So our drones could have beards. But I think it's going to be an interesting switch up. And as Art mentioned, I really don't think there's a middle ground. I would hope that there's not this crazy hazing that goes on, but I do think it does. Hey, Vanilla.
You don't try to
Uh,
interview as a lifeguard if you can't swim.
hey, as long as you can throw the buoy out, yes, you can. Um,
Uh, well, in my case, it was my asthma. And that was why I couldn't join the military. I wanted to join the army, but I needed too many controller medicines, and a fast acting and epinephrine. And back in that era, they were not going to accommodate getting me my meds
I
if I was
yeah,
out in the field.
I told you I was
So,
all ready to go for the Navy, and then I watched that PBS thing, um, yeah, program where they showed boot camp. I don't think it was for the Navy, I think it was for the Army. But they said that all branches of the military had to go through this similar boot camp. And so
yes.
they're like going through la di da, and I'm like, yeah, could do that, could do that, could do that. And then they got to the room with the tear gas, and I was like, nope, nada, ain't doing it, couldn't do it, don't think I could pass it. People came out, they showed them throwing up and
I
carrying
would have done it just because I could say I did.
up.
At least I tried.
Nope,
But I'm a glutton for pain, so
nope. I wasn't going to put myself through that, and so I didn't, and now I have regrets. Uh, and again, I don't think we do a good job in prepping or explaining to people processes that can, that go on with the military.
See, my
when.
dad and my stepdad sat me down separately because my dad was Navy, my stepdad was Army, both
Mm-hmm.
during Vietnam. And they forewarned me of what I would see out there in the war zones and what I would be going through and the risks I would be taking
Right.
in going into the military. And both supported me
Mm-hmm.
in my choice to try. They both supported me because I went in knowing full well what the outcome could be. And it sucked, but I wanted to.
Right.
I just didn't even get a chance.
Yeah.
I didn't even get to try.
I had a boss that was a medic and went and picked up bodies off of the battlefield in
My
Vietnam.
ex sister in law was an army medic.
Uh-huh. My uncle was in the Air Force, and he took supply. I think I told this story. He
Hmm.
took supplies over to Vietnam, and
Um,
obviously they didn't come back with the empty cargo, and they had bodies, and this killed me. Body parts that
yeah,
they
there
didn't
were
know
no full bodies to bring back from
exactly.
Vietnam, and that's if they even found parts to send back.
Exactly. And he suffered severe PTSD from that.
Hmm.
Uh, the nightmare of bringing the bodies back.
Well,
So,
my dad has a version of, well, he has PTSD. He won't get help for it, but he was on the aircraft carriers and watched a couple idiots get sucked up into the jet engines because they
oh my
stood too
God,
close.
with dumbasses.
Well, it's traumatizing. And, again, that's part of, yeah, the next guy learns not to stand so close.
Right, right.
But it sucks. And it's still something you don't get over. It gets easier with time, but you don't get over it.
Well, I think that's why the standards are so important that, one of the training modules would be you don't stand this
Oh,
close.
I'm sure they were
No,
told that,
I
but there
know,
was
but
probably
they,
some miscommunication
right,
between the pilot and the
right,
flight crew, the flight deck crew, about when to turn on that frickin' thing and making sure everyone was cleared.
exactly.
There was definitely a someone missed a
Miscommunication.
step,
Uh huh.
and somebody probably got chewed for it.
Oh, I think
But
more than
you
that.
know,
More than that.
yeah. In my family, the men just said, "We paid our price of admission, go do something else." Mom said, "Don't get into the family business, soldiering or politics."
Hmm.
Yep. A lot of my cousins were in the military, varying levels. My grandfather served in World War II. I've talked about it before many times. I just wanted to do my part. But
Right.
you know what? God didn't see fit, and the military didn't see fit. Or they weren't desperate enough for military members at the time that they would have gotten me my asthma meds and my epi just
Right.
to make sure.
Well, EJ's almost close to your age, and when he started junior high, when we moved out here, they never asked, what classes or anything that he wanted to be in. So he came home that first day, and here, the war was going on, and
Hmm.
they signed him up as soon as they saw him for ROTC, and I flipped. Oh my God, I pitched a
I
fit.
wish my school had ROTC. I
I
would have totally gone.
I wish he I wish I would have let him go. He wanted to be in the Air Force, but because of his vision, they said he couldn't be a pilot. So he was like, I didn't want to do it. But now he would tell you he wishes he would have gone through the program because there
It
was no,
teaches you a lot and it
yeah,
builds your character and
right.
everything. There's
And,
so much to learn.
and there's no commitment that you have to sign up to go. You know what I mean? You just go through the process. But if at the end, when you graduate, you don't want to sign up, you don't have to. But because the war was going on and it was going so bad, and I had a very close friend that I worked with, and her son was over there. He had actually worked for our company for a little bit, and he was in Desert Storm,
Yep.
and he came home twice and told us the horrific stories about being out in the desert. I was like, no freaking way.
Yeah.
And it was so,
I've had a lot of friends who
yeah,
served,
yep,
classmates who served. I babysat for a guy. I babysat his twin daughters. And this was right after 9/11, and he got deployed
mm-hmm,
and he did not come back. His name popped up on the screen.
aw,
That's how I found out. Friends who didn't come back. I had a friend who was a paratrooper that I went to school with.
mm,
And it's just like, it happens. We grew up we grew up in generations where you watched to see. Again, we're looking at Vietnam era
right,
people, World War II era people. World War II, you didn't find out till sometimes months later when
exact,
they could get the messages back stateside to
correct,
give to the family.
correct,
And then there were some people who had no clue until months after the war ended, and they started doing head counts of
right,
who all came back. And it's like, well, shit. We don't know where these people are.
mm-hmm,
I mean, so again, I grew up through Desert Storm and Iraqi Freedom, all of those little things, and then September 11th. So again, most of my life there was a scroller bar with the most
with the
recent
names, yep.
casualties.
Now that kid that I told you that was over in Desert Storm, he had started working. I had run this summer program where we utilized kids aged 14 and above to work for us in the summertime. I called
Hmm.
it slave labor wages, and I got work accomplished, right? So
Yeah.
he's this young kid, 15 years old. He graduates, he goes over, he comes back. He's about almost his birthday at 19. He comes back to the office. We have a cake for him and everything, and we had sent him a uh like gift box. Um, it's not called a gift box. You know what I'm trying to
A
say.
care package.
Thank you, a care package. We'd send him a care package. And, all the women got together and we put stuff in this care package. And he came to me and he's like, Dee, he's like, I don't want you guys to get upset or anything. He goes, the care package was really nice, but it really's for a child. He's like, the gummy bears were cute and all that. He goes, but here's what we really need. And he gave me a list. And one of the
Yep.
big things was socks and
Yep.
underwear and, a whole litany,
Deodorant.
deodorant and wipes, you know. Um, so the next time we got the box right.
Those are gold in a care package.
Exactly. But here, I mean, this was literally, we sent this child, right? He's a child. He leaves us at 18. He goes over to war, legit war, in a tank, military tank, in the desert, and
Uh
he
huh.
comes back a man. And we're
Yes.
still thinking of him as this 18-year-old child. It was a
You'll
huge.
always know a veteran, especially a young one, because they come back and they get right into a career usually. They're
Mhm,
not immature out partying like how the frat
right,
boys the same age are partying.
right.
You'll know the difference of maturity from someone who's
It was
seen
it.
the world
Hmm.
for what it is,
Right. It
not
was
the delusional travel package
right.
brochures that the
Yeah,
rest of us get.
yeah. It was truly an eye opener on what exactly happens.
Hmm.
It, and I think for me that was the biggest reason that I didn't let I didn't want to see EJ get killed. You know what I mean? I knew he would. I knew what his skills were, and I could see him being out on the front line, or I could see him being some type of sniper, or I envisioned all these things for him, and then I just saw death and was like, I can't do this.
It's not for you to technically have a say over. It's
But
more
he could,
for what he would have wanted.
right? But he
He's an
could,
adult. He could have
if he's
enlisted if he wanted
right
to.
at 18, he could have. While
Heck,
he
my
was
dad enlisted, and his father said, if you enlist, when you come back, your stuff's going to be up on the out in the front yard. And sure as shit, his stuff was in the front yard. He
oh
got
god,
kicked out. He was living in a vehicle, working the grocery job he worked before he left for the Navy, but had a completely different outlook on the world. And he worked at that grocery job until he had enough money and found a better job and worked his way up until he got to the career job he wanted in the factories of ODID grinding, tool and die, lathe
right
work. That was my
now
dad.
he could have made that decision at 18, but at 16,
I
you're
was 17 when
15.
my dad was willing to
It,
let me sign up because he knew I was mature enough and good
yeah,
enough to go. And
and
I
I
was
was
level
like,
headed
no.
enough to make an educated decision.
Yeah. And I guess it all depends. I mean, you can't pick, like what you want to do. You know what I mean? It's you're assigned to go wherever. My brother was,
You have a degree of say in it. You do
yeah,
have a degree of say.
well, my brother served in the Air Force, but he was stationed in Germany, guarding military bases.
Was
And
that during Vietnam?
no, no, uh,
What war was that?
uh, I'm trying to think. I don't think anything was going on, to be honest with you. When did he go? Hold on a
Because
sec.
Germany's a major landing spot for a lot of new recruits,
Yeah.
newcomers for the Army, Air Force, and
Oh, I gotta
I think
think
even the
about
Marines
that.
get dumped there.
I'm trying to think if he stayed home for a while. I gotta dwell on that one, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I can see
it's
him
because
in.
again,
Yeah.
peacetime is different than wartime. And
Oh,
yes, you can
exactly.
sometimes get to pick your MOS. You
Yep.
have a say in it, but then you're stuck wherever they send you after that. You don't get to often pick, or you can have a say, but it doesn't mean you're going to get it.
Right.
And you sure don't get to go to boot camp in the state you live in. That's a mandatory.
There you
The
go.
basic training and stuff is always done elsewhere.
Right.
Art says one of my friends had Fort Leavenworth, Kansas penciled in on his list of selections. He never quite knew how to take that. My grandfather was at Fort Riley. That's
Hmm.
interesting. He did his basic at Fort Riley.
Hmm. All right. Why don't we finish this up?
Oh, yeah, 2 more minutes and then we can jump into the rebuttals to what he had to say. Those are fun.
Mm-hmm.
Reputations, no more endless waiting, no more legal limbo, no more sidetracking careers, no more walking on eggshells. Of
I'm feeding
course,
him.
being a racist has been illegal in our formation since 1948. The same goes for
That's right, it
sexual
is.
harassment.
Sorry, Art.
Both are wrong and illegal. Those kinds of infractions will be ruthlessly enforced. But telling someone to shave or get a haircut or to get in shape or to fix their uniform or to show up on time or to work hard, that's exactly the kind of discrimination we want. We are not civilians. You are not civilians. You are set apart for a distinct purpose. So we, as a department, need to stop acting and thinking like civilians and get back to basics and put the power back in the hands of commanders and NCOs. Commanders and NCOs who make life and death decisions. Commanders and NCOs who enforce standards and ensure readiness. Commanders and NCOs who, in this War Department, have to look in the mirror and they have to pass the golden rule test. My kids, your kids, America's sons and daughters. So I urge you all here today and those watching, take this guidance and run with it. The core of this speech is the 10 directives we're announcing today. They were written for you, for Army leadership, for Navy leadership, for Marine Corps leadership, for Air Force leadership, Space Force leadership. These directives are designed to take the monkey off your back and put you, the leadership, back in the driver's seat. Move out with urgency because we have your back. I have your back. And the Commander-in-Chief has your back.
I have to, like I said, I like some of the stuff he's saying. Some of it, I would like more clarification. And in general, I think, there's got to be some changes, but we also need to keep them in check. That's where I stand on all of this. Like everything else, everything in moderation. But like Art points out, and I've seen it myself with my family, the military is not about moderations usually.
Correct.
And God, they love making new tech.
Yep.
It's so fun.
Yeah, I don't think the military moderation is the military's
Expertise.
yeah, I think they're a little bit different. All right.
Well, if anyone, a prime example, if anyone has ever watched The Fat Electrician, the time America went proportional response on, I believe it was Iraq or Iran during the Reagan administration. Oh, yeah. America doesn't believe in moderation, especially when you touch our boats.
Maybe you could find that and we'll look at it.
I'll drop it over on the server for anyone who hasn't seen it. I love The Fat Electrician. He does military history in ways that will make you laugh your ass off. No matter how serious the story, you will laugh.
All right. So Crazy Bee will put that up in the Discord if you haven't done so already. Joined that. And did I even say the date and time? I don't even remember.
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Yes, you did.
Well, it is. We're at 8:28 Eastern Standard Time. Please don't forget to like, follow, comment, share, and subscribe. We'd appreciate your support. And let's hear some rebuttals.
All righty. Here's our first one. The Daily Show with Ronnie Chang, it looks like.
I believe so.
All right.
Welcome to The Daily Show. I'm Ron Chang. We got so much to talk about tonight. Pete Hegseth has his own Battle of the Bulge. The National Guard adds more tour dates. And
yes,
I bet you
US
$50
Liberty.
Gambling is going to destroy American society. So let's get into the headlines. Let's start with America's military, the Karen of the world. They just...
Oh, and in case I forgot to say, hi, Vanilla. I saw you popped in. I pinned a couple of your messages, but I think I forgot to say hi.
Will not stay out of other countries' business. And leading this military is Pete Hegseth, who you might think is the Secretary of Defense. But you'd be wrong. He's rebranded himself the Secretary of War. You know how cool guys always give themselves nicknames. And as part of this military makeover, last week the Secretary announced a surprise meeting.
Tonight, in an unprecedented move, Secretary Pete Hegseth asking all U.S. general officers and admirals around the world to gather at the U.S. Marine Base in Quantico, Virginia.
A meeting of this size in person and on such short notice is extremely rare.
It's going to also potentially be a security risk, given the sheer number of military officials and how many are going to be gathered in one place at a time.
That is why we have a chain of command. Someone else steps up while they are out. It's not really a security risk.
Exactly.
But that's just them fear-mongering.
Right.
Well, I mean, if they wanted to target the place where everyone was at, but that's why we have a chain of command. Everyone bumps up. Like, seriously. Okay. Anyways, you gotta love the way the media spins things. So, all right, we can get through this 11 minutes without me stopping it every 5
I don't
seconds.
know
I
if it's the
promise.
whole. I don't think it's the whole. I think it's just the beginning part, and then we
Yeah,
could.
I'll cut it off if
Yeah,
it changes into something else.
right.
Listen, we all do weird things when we're drunk, okay? Some of us slide into an ex's DMs, and some of us call every U.S. general to a meeting at Quantico. But, I'm sure if the secretary is going to gather all the...
They want to pick on him about his alcoholism, but have they looked at the number of addicts and alcoholics in Congress?
Right.
I mean, like, y'all can make fun of him all you want. I'm telling you straight up, I want drug testing on every politician in Congress, in that Capitol building. I want to see the drug results. I want to know who's on what and why they haven't shared with us.
Right.
Just going to point that out. Vanilla, I don't think they'll meet in Hawaii. Yeah, I mean, that's the last thing we need is another Pearl Harbor. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
all the generals, some of them from active war zones, then he must have something very important he wants to tell them.
It's tiring to look out at combat formations, or really any formation, and see fat troops. Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon.
That's what you drag
track.
all these generals in for? To tell them they're fat?
That is a laugh track. No one's actually laughing at him.
Right.
There are no people there.
Couldn't you just leave some passive-aggressive comments on the Instagram? Like, hey, congrats, General. When are you due? I mean, this guy will text top-secret war plans, but when it comes to body shaming, he's like, I want to see their fat faces when I tell them how fat their faces are. Look, I get the...
He wasn't the only military personnel in that signal chat, and yes, he fucked up. He got reprimanded. It's not going to happen again.
I get the military needs to be fit, okay? But in defense of fat generals, they're kind of like coaches, right? Like, coaches don't need to be fit enough to play the sport. They just have to be fit enough to date a 24-year-old. And also, there are some military positions you kind of don't want a fit soldier for. Like, I don't want a guy with six-pack abs operating a drone.
What? Wow. He's got some really fucked up logic there.
Well, let's hear it. Why? Why?
He clearly hasn't had enough time and experience sitting down like this with a controller. Just going.
Evidently, he hasn't watched some of the gamers that are out there on Twitch right now, because a lot of those guys are not overweight. They actually work out. I've watched Twitch. I've streamed to Twitch. Yeah, they're not, most of them that I have seen are not fat people. Just going to point it out. He's stereotyping a group of gamers, and I got news for him. I know gamers who have been veterans and still work out. So, yeah, even Vanilla says it. Yeah, most are really fit. Exactly. All right. So, yeah, his logic is flawed here. Really bad. His logic is severely flawed. So, okay, let's let him keep digging his little hole that he's burying himself in.
Okay, he's dead. But telling generals they have to get on Ozempic wasn't the whole speech.
That is not what he said. See, right there, a flat out lie. He never said they had to get on Ozempic. See, this is the bullshit. And people are going to believe it instead of going and watching the whole speech.
Correct.
Oh my God. Okay, I
All right,
promise.
you're not allowed to say anything else. Because
I'm trying.
you'll be every word that comes out of his mouth, you'll be saying something. Trust me.
I'm seeing that now.
Trust
Okay.
me.
Secretary of War had more to say than that.
No more beards, long hair, superficial individual expression. We're going to cut our hair, shave our beards, and adhere to standards.
Okay, you hear that, you goddamn hippie generals? No more beards. I'm looking at you, Admiral Lebowski. Now, according to Pete Hegseth, America's military standards are now going to be indistinguishable from a Grindr profile, okay? No fatties, no facial hair, and get those ladies the out of my sight. But it's all about a much larger project of de-wokificationing.
An entire generation of generals and admirals were told that they must parrot the insane fallacy that, quote, our diversity is our strength. They had to put out dizzying DEI and LGBTQI plus statements. No more identity months, DEI offices, dudes in dresses.
Yeah, you hear that, General Doubtfire?
Okay, that one's actually funny. I gotta give him props on that one.
Something very weird about that general. I can't put my finger on it.
Vanilla,
Although,
I
are we
think the
sure
answer to your
dudes wearing
question is
dresses
both.
doesn't work?
I'm sorry?
I said I think the answer to Vanilla's question is both.
Yeah. I just read it. Yeah. I think so.
Yeah, both.
All right.
Work because the Taliban wore dresses and it kind of worked for them. You know what I mean? I don't know, maybe the beards cancel out the dresses. So someone check the math on that. But this wasn't just a pep talk. Pete Hegseth, the motherfucking Secretary of War, also took the opportunity to bump his book sales on
the Red War sign.
Wait, say it again?
I said I actually like the music they're playing, and I like the Red War, the Department of War, how they changed it.
Yeah. The riff, the guitar riff. Yes. It was a good one. I wonder which guitarist they stole that from.
Exactly.
All right.
was on Amazon.
You might say we're ending the war on warriors. I heard someone wrote a book about that.
I got to say this. I'm sorry. Name a politician who hasn't taken advantage of a time to plug their books.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
Every
Nitpick
single
both sides.
Both sides.
Okay, I promise I'm going to try. It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah. And that someone was him. Say what you want about Henry Kissinger. I mean, at least he never used his position to sell his book, 101 War Crimes to Try on Cambodians. But bottom line, a lot of people were worried that this event was going to show that Pete Hegseth had taken over the military. But it actually just showed how disconnected his MAGA rally energy is from their professional culture, especially this moment that he clearly thought was going to crush.
Should our enemies choose foolishly to challenge us, they will be crushed by the violence, precision, and ferocity of the War Department. In other words, to our enemies, F-A-F-O.
That was cringe.
If necessary, our troops can translate that for you.
Wow. Not even the leaders of the U.S. military have ever seen a line bomb that hard before. It's just kind of, it's weird and some would say juvenile to use internet slang in a speech to your adversaries. I mean, President Reagan was never like, Mr. Gorbachev, I hark to us, spit on that wall. But basically,
I gotta give him props on some of these. Some of these
Yeah.
are actually accurate. It was cringe. And could you imagine Reagan saying something straight slang from the 90s?
Mm. Reagan
Or
was,
not the
you know,
90s, the 80s. I am sorry.
yeah,
Like, dude, tear down that wall.
right. I just think that we're in a different generation, a different time, and I
I
think
know.
the internet has infiltrated every facet of our life, and so yeah, was it appropriate? I mean, did he want to say fuck around and find out? Maybe not. So FAFO was a little bit nicer way to say it. I mean,
Yeah.
what do you
But
want
like
to
I
tell?
can even admit it was kind of cringe, but
Yeah,
still acceptable
yeah.
to
I
a
mean,
degree.
he's trying to tell our enemy, go ahead.
Well, I
Have
want to go ahead and try us right now. Give us about
no.
6, 7
Hell no.
months.
Nope. Hell
All
no.
right.
that was Pete Hegseth's speech. F-A-F-O. And no one in the military is allowed to be fat, especially the leaders. Okay? It's a bad look. So next up to speak was the famously thin health nut commander-in-chief, Donald Trump. And even President Trump noticed how dead the room was.
Fantastic job. I've never walked into a room so silent before.
Wow, way to throw your opening act under the bus. Who was that who was that loser, huh? I thought alcoholics were supposed to be fun. Well, if anyone can win a room back, it's President Trump, who convinced these generals there was a good reason to pull them from their posts.
I call it the N-word.
Oh, shit. He's coming in hot here. Is he gonna say it? Is he gonna say the thing? Is this about to happen? Is this it?
The word nuclear. We can't let people throw around that word.
Oh. Okay, the N-word is nuclear. Okay, but that's a weird way to say it, since there's also kind of another word that we famously refer to as the N-word.
There are two N-words, and you can't use either of them. Can't use either of them. And frankly, if it does get to use, we have more than anybody else. We have better, we have newer.
Wait, are we still talking about nuclear, or?
He's got a good point there.
Or
Clarify
other
which
one?
N-word.
I just want to make sure. Look, I'm sure the gathering of American generals is loving this extended riff on the N-word, but let's maybe wrap this up before it gets out of hand.
San Francisco, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, they're very unsafe places, and we're going to straighten them out one by one. And this is going to be a major part for some of the people in this room. That's a war, too. It's a war from within. And I told Pete, we should use some of these dangerous cities
Say that again?
Nothing. It's okay.
Oh, okay.
as training grounds for our military, National Guard, but military. And this is going to be a big thing for the people in this room because it's the enemy from within, and we have to handle it before it gets out of control.
Okay. You know what? Can we just go back to talking about the N-word, okay? Because this seems worse. So is that what this whole thing was about? Giving these generals the marching orders for war against American cities? That's some pretty dark and scary shit from the president and the secretary of war. I mean, no, start with no, not now. No shredding. Shredding for good stuff only, not bad stuff. Look, I've only officially been American for like a few hours now, but even I know that using American cities as a training ground for the military.
Actually, they do use American cities for training grounds routinely. They close off regions of buildings and factories that have been abandoned and use them for training for close quarter combat in cities and stuff like that. It's not unheard of, but I get where Trump's coming from. But these people, yeah, Trump's reasoning for it is different than the training exercises that happen.
Right.
Um, but there is a difference. But Trump, that was in poor taste, in my opinion, the way he worded it.
Right.
Again, it's where he talk. The longer he talks, the worse it gets.
Right. Well, why don't we stop on this part and they can watch the rest of it because we have some other things. I did want to address uh, something with regard to them saying that he is an alcoholic. Pete Hegseth is an alcoholic.
Hmm.
There is no official record to indicate such. However, there has been allegations made about
Yes,
abuse that were outlined in his January 2025 confirmation. So, if you guys are interested in what was said, go ahead and Google "Is Pete Hegseth an alcoholic?" and you will find out information about that. He had a
yeah,
couple
and
things.
even still, if he has an alcohol problem, name a general that doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Name a politician that
Right.
doesn't
Well, I would hope that if he does, that he would have
seek
gotten
help.
some type of help. Yeah. He
Uh
had
huh.
spoke on Megyn Kelly's show saying that he was not. He did, however, admit that when he came back from the war, he did drink to try to figure things out.
That's
So,
common.
yeah, I would probably say he does drink. I don't know if he's an alcoholic or not. That's
He
for
could be a functioning alcoholic.
exactly. And
My
there are,
grandfather was a functioning alcoholic.
yeah, and there are, he could be sent to an EAP program, or there's tests for to determine
There's
whether that's
just a
the case or
basic
not.
shrink that you can go to, and
Exactly.
it's not public record. He
Right.
might be getting help behind the scenes.
Right. And nobody knows, and you know, but the
He might
fact
have been
that
an alcoholic in the past, but has died back on it.
recovered,
Dialed
right?
back, not died back, dialed back on it.
Hmm.
There's a
But
lot.
these, but this, but again, these are what we're showing you. These are the one negative commentator, and he's throwing out that several times he has said he's an alcoholic. Now, where you're watching the show, perhaps you're going to believe this if you don't go and look for it yourself. You're going to say,
Uh-huh.
"Oh, we have an alcoholic as the Secretary of War. Exactly what we want." Right?
A lot of people have made references to his
Yeah.
alcohol
Mm,
addiction or abuse
right.
in many of the videos I've seen.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Art
Art
says he
brings up
probably.
he probably was an alcoholic at one time, but his current status is an open question, and stress is a big cause of relapse. That is a big fact.
Yes, sir.
That is a huge fact.
I mean, his personal life is somewhat a shambles, or
Hmm.
I don't want to
One
say.
can be an alcoholic but no longer abusing. Yeah, that's true. People
Right.
will acknowledge that they've had an addiction and still call themselves an addict, even though they're not using, just to remind themselves not to, and to help face the reality that there is an addiction and they have to fight it.
Mm.
It's one of the techniques they teach in AA and NA.
All right. What do you got next? We'll leave this one in the description below if you would like to continue
Hmm.
watching what the Daily Show had to say.
We'll probably be able to get through this one, maybe one more.
Okay.
Um, before we have to call it a night.
Okay.
Unless you feel like going longer, I don't mind.
I'm
I'm
fine. Yeah,
it's
what
not
do you
I
maybe we
can
can finish up the Pete. Let's see where we're at. So what do you have after this then?
We have Mr. Dingbat Don Lemon putting in his 2 cents.
Oh
This is
my.
better. This guy, I don't take anything he says as remotely serious.
That real news journalist.
I hope that was sarcasm.
Indeed, it
Oops,
was
right there.
when President
Sorry, I had
Trump
to get
announced
past the
his
music.
Liberation Day for America's trade policy. It was a landmark day. Well, today is another Liberation Day. The liberation of America's warriors, in name, in deed, and in authorities. You kill people and break things for a living. You are not politically correct and don't necessarily belong always in polite society.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth announcing a series of changes for the military personnel that he says will raise the standards of combat troops and free commanders from the fear of violating internal military rules.
You may remember Secretary Hegseth called hundreds of the nation's highest-ranking military leaders back to Quantico last week to speak to them, but it went a different direction than most probably expected. A large part of Hegseth's speech was dedicated to prioritizing physical fitness and, well, being well-groomed, even if that meant fewer women in combat roles.
If the Secretary of War can do regular, hard PT, so can every member of our joint force. Frankly, it's tiring to look out at combat formations, or really any formation, and see fat troops. Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon. No more beards, long hair, superficial individual expression. We're going to cut our hair, shave our beards, and adhere to standards. Because it's like the broken windows theory of policing. It's like when you let the small stuff go, the big stuff eventually goes. When it comes to any job that requires physical power to perform in combat, those physical standards must be high and gender neutral. If women can make it, excellent. If not, it is what it is. If that means no women qualify for some combat jobs, so be it.
Announced the military's internal complaint and investigations process would be overhauled to eliminate frivolous complaining.
We are overhauling an Inspector General process, the IG, that has been weaponized, putting complainers, ideologues, and poor performers in the driver's seat. No more frivolous complaints, no more anonymous complaints, no more repeat complainants, no more smearing reputations, no more endless waiting, no more legal limbo, no more sidetracking careers, no more walking on eggshells.
Hegseth also defended several high-profile firings and ended by saying that if the changes bothered anyone in the room, they were free to leave. They should resign.
After Hegseth's speech, Trump took the stage where he called on his top generals to use American cities as training grounds for their troops and suggested that they should use violence against protesters.
We're under invasion from within. No different than a foreign enemy, but more difficult in many ways because they don't wear uniforms. I told Pete we should use some of these dangerous cities as training grounds for our military, National Guard, but military, because we're going into Chicago very soon. That's a big city with an incompetent governor. People are standing, their mouth is this far away from their mouth, and they're spitting at him, and they're screaming at him. And that soldier's standing there, he wants to knock the hell out of the person, but he's not allowed to do anything. So they just stand there and they get abused. If it's okay with you, generals and admirals, I've taken that off. I say, they spit, we hit. Is that okay?
Of course, reaction was swift following
I actually
Hegseth
have to
and
agree
Trump's
with that.
speeches. Independent journalist Aaron Rupar calling Trump's speech a, quote, major escalation in a post on Blue Sky, writing, quote, hard to imagine how anyone with a shred of dignity can keep serving after this. which of course is the point. Meantime, Don Lemon appearing on Dan Abrams' show yesterday, calling out Hegseth for railing against DEI in the military.
In his definition and the Trump administration's definition of diversity, equity, and inclusion, Pete Hegseth is a DEI hire. Pete Hegseth is not qualified for that position, and he shouldn't be in that position. So therefore, it's very tough for me and many people in America to take him seriously about anything.
It was hard to
Don
watch.
Lemon is a
Hold on, I gotta
useless
say
person.
something.
It was
no one cares about.
Half the people who are generals are there because of political appointments
Exactly.
and political motivations and stuff. They're not necessarily qualified.
Right.
So, what? And look at half of Congress. How many of them are qualified?
Exactly.
Look at our last president and vice president. Were they qualified?
Apparently.
Oh my God. Yeah, he just gets up on my. I'm sorry. I'm
I
sorry.
know.
Oh, you know me.
About at all.
Well, he's doing pretty good. He's up 900,000 subscribers now on his personal YouTube. He's in D.C. asking the tough questions back to his journalism roots. And he's having a good time doing it and growing his own media company. But irrelevant or not, 900,000 people agree that he's not. Separate from that, I think that this speech from Hegseth and Trump was incoherent, rambling, and just downright confusing. I think that the way that they attacked the military, it seemed more like a campaign rally and kind of
attack the military.
Yeah, get rid of your beards if you have hair. Like some people grow their hair because it's a family thing. Some people like attacking the way you look, attacking women in that, saying, "Oh, get out of these roles. You want to serve our country. You don't belong there. You're not good enough."
Saying
it
they
just
have
very
to
much
meet
was a condescending.
standards.
It was.
I thought I heard you say something, D.
I did. I said, you know what? If you don't like it, that they say, cut your hair, shave your beard, wear this uniform, do X, Y, and Z, don't join up in the 1st place. Just like you would any company. There are some companies that require if you have a beard or long hair past a certain length and you're in the food industry, what do you have to do? You have to wear a beard net, a hair
Or
cover,
shave it.
right? Or shave it. You know, in medical manufacturing, you had to go in and wear a clean suit with feet, gloves, shield, everything. Get
Yeah.
air blown before you went into the manufacturing part to make the
Yeah.
bowl. And that's the way it was. Everybody went on a break at the same time. Everybody took lunch at the same time. And if you don't like it, you go somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. Art just said it. If you're not in the military, then do whatever you want. If you join the military, do what you're told as long as it's valid and legal.
Right.
And the thing is about military, your autonomy is basically gone. You are the property of the United States military until you are discharged.
Correct.
You are their property.
For 4 years.
You have a degree of freedoms.
Right.
But it is ones that can be used against you and get you in trouble. If you like we see with the ones that were speaking out about Charlie Kirk and wishing, cheering what had happened to him. That is especially the ones using the military equipment on the military's recruiting page.
Mm-hmm.
Not public, but still using it. That is a no-no. You make the military look bad. Military is supposed to be apolitical. They're not supposed to be picking sides other than their vote for who they want president. And you're not supposed to be publicly putting it out there.
Right.
You have a military serial number. You are nothing but a cat, a cog, in a larger machine.
Yep.
Exactly. That is why you have the same haircuts. You have the same shaved beard. You have the same damn uniform. It is because you are all part of a machine. Do your damn job. Be on with your day. That's all it is. You are not supposed to be standing out in the military. You are supposed to be one of many.
Correct.
So, yeah, that's another problem that I have with the way they're doing this is you don't get freedom of expression. You don't get to have earrings in. You
No.
don't get to have jewelry on, except maybe your wedding band, and that has to come off at certain points. That you don't get to, like, do they not realize what the military entails? Some of these people have probably
No.
never even talked to a veteran about what it's like to live in the military and what it's like to serve in the military. They probably don't even have family members who have served, or if they do, they haven't spoke to them about it, and so they don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Right.
It's frustrating. Okay, I'm done with my rant. Let's get through this. Sorry.
It was just very much a condescending thing, especially attacking our country. President Trump called it a war from within. And so the fact that you're talking about Chicago and using it as a training ground to, I ought to hit them, like, this is very childish, and asking generals and people who actually lead major wars or in position to be able to do that, to go have war within our country and within our major cities is kind of absurd. I think should be to any American to have our president standing up there and saying, yeah, practice here for what we do internationally. And then the whole joke about it with Hegseth saying mess around and find out. You guys know the analogy. I'm not going to say on air, but like making jokes at the time about how much we're going to be hard on people and be fighting. Like after we just changed this thing to the War Department, it just seems very much anti everything that America stands for, from fighting internally and also trying to be more war.
What America is she talking about?
I have no idea. Just.
Oh my God.
I know.
What America? Okay. All right. Let's
see. She's one of the problems right there. She's one of the problems. She would be the DEI manager, hiring manager.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I don't know what America she thinks she's talking about, but that's not the America I grew up in. And that's not the history of America that I know. All right.
Or war prone outside of the U.S., when most people in the country want to be less involved in international conflicts.
So there are things he said and things Trump said, excuse me, that I agree with and things I don't agree with. In terms of women in combat roles or trimming your beards, being in better shape, I support all of that. We should have the most effective fighting force that there is. The standards should be objective, exactly like Pete Hegseth said. If you can,
are you ineffective with a higher hair? Are you ineffective with a beard?
They shave your head in the military. It's part of the ethos of it is you're not an individual. You're part of an elite fighting force, and so they discourage superficial individual expression.
Sorry, what was that?
You know what? Let's use common sense. You got she just said your hair is high on your head. Well, you know what, bitch? Let me just grab you by your bun and whip you around.
Yeah, men with longer hair.
There's a reason for short hair. There's a reason not to have.
There's a reason
beard.
Military women wear their hair in a bun.
Exactly. There's reasons for all of this. She knows nothing of what she's talking about.
I'll tell you, I learned to tie my hair back young because my parents had no problem snatching me up by my hair. It hurts less when it's tied back.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you that.
Individual expressions. You want to express yourself as an individual, the military might not be the right place for you. That's what he's saying. That's in keeping with military teaching and training. That's fine. I don't object to any of that. I think that's great. I think the emphasis on physical fitness is great. The holding generals to the same standard, great. All that good. What I like less is some of the rhetoric from Hegseth is a little bit of this kind of tough guy, I can do more push-ups than you sort of thing that I just find
And I like to see him
obnoxious.
go through the training. He's like, oh, if I can do it.
He can do it. He's in good shape.
Well, yeah, I see good shape. I like to see him
do the Hegseth. You see him doing the pull-ups?
You know what Don Lemon brought up was a good point. He's never been in military contact.
I don't believe you.
He's never been in a military situation at all, like as far as leadership.
Hegseth?
Yeah, Hegseth has never had an active military positioning. He doesn't know how to go fight combat at war. I don't think that he actually has.
I don't know exactly.
He literally was a Fox News host
No, he was in the military prior to that.
Okay, well, if he still has the
think
same,
he was in combat.
Oh
I don't
my
know
God.
correct me if I'm
exactly.
wrong.
Oh
She's
my
talking
No, he was in
shit. He
combat.
didn't
Okay,
even
fine. He
know.
was a combat veteran
They're
ages ago. So
talking
let's say he was, but his
about-
latest job was a
Oh
Fox
my
News host.
God.
So if he still has
Oh
the
my
same,
God, she's so stupid.
I can't. I just can't from either one of them. How?
He's actually defending
I know he
Hegseth,
is,
saying,
but
yes,
he
he is
doesn't
a
even
veteran.
know.
And she's like, no, he was never in a role.
But he doesn't even know for sure if
I'm
he
sorry.
was military or not. So neither one of them know what they're talking about. How can you have a
Yeah.
show? How can you do this?
And claim to be a journalist.
And people believe this shit. That's what's crazy about all of this. They believe it.
Oh, do you remember when Elizabeth Warren was all offended by his tattoo of the Templar cross?
Yep. Oh my Lord.
Like, for fuck's sake.
Ugh.
Really? Arby, why do we know more than these people that get propped up as influencers and journalists? I give up. Well, up, yeah.
I give up.
Exactly. And we don't get paid the millions of dollars they get paid.
Exactly. This is craziness. Can you
How you go up there and run your mouth about something you didn't even bother researching before running
Exactly.
your mouth?
And you know what? And all they had to do was even do a Wikipedia if they didn't want to do the work, right?
Or just listen to his his interrogation for his nomination confirmation shit. His confirmation to the
No, that would have
position. All they had to
taken
do was listen to that.
too much time. Just run a quick Wikipedia. You could have, kind of got through with it. But now you two dumbasses just really have proven that you're
And they
dumbass.
call us tone deaf.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Oh
Right.
my. Go ahead.
Oh my God.
same skills, and it comes back to this position. And he's seeing over 3.4 million personnel in foreign military and leading them this erratically. I think that would be uncomfortable to think that anybody who has that lack of experience or such a history of experience, but most recently you were a television host like you and I, telling people what they should do for the future of our country under an erratic leader who's telling people to punch people in Chicago. I think that's all a recipe for a disaster.
I don't want to consider domestic crime to be a war like an invading force, because I think that gives the government too much leeway to misbehave, and there's just kind of a
siege.
so yeah, I agreed with parts of it, I disagreed with parts of it. I'm not sure it was necessary to bring the whole
Say it again.
I said we are under siege by cartel members.
I guess he doesn't know what the cartels do.
Exactly. I mean, have they taken, again, just pull some crime stats and you'll know what we're talking about. That's all you needed, Wikipedia.
Or he was infantry. That took maybe a minute to find. Shaking my head. Mm-hmm. Oh, and what does infantry do? Oh yeah, they're the foot soldiers out there. G.I. Joe.
Go
I'm
ahead.
telling you,
I
these
can't
people are
stand it. You're
idiots.
stupid.
They're stupid. It's an understatement. All right, got 1 minute left. And yes, those areas, and I can, now that I look at it, a lot of the military job is holding your ground and defending an area with, using appropriate force. Maybe Trump is onto something, teaching them some self control and how to handle mobs, because that is part of the military, mob control. All I gotta say is that show 13, that movie 13 Hours.
Right? And, where are you supposed to practice? You know what I mean? Like, with one another is one thing, or, other countries, do war games and whatever, but we are legit have a major crime problem when the police departments have been decimated by this wokeness. culture and defund the police. We're in sheer crazy town right now.
That we are. We absolutely are. Um, let's go on. Get through this last one.
Bring the whole military here, but
And we paid $6 million to do that.
Standards for performance is fine. We're not going to make it so you only have to do 6 push-ups if you're overweight or different or female or whatever it is. It's just whoever can pass it can be in the military. And for combat roles.
And do you agree that millions of dollars, I think last night it was estimated $6 million to bring the troops there to tell them cut your beards and shave your head and also fight in Chicago? That was such a waste. No, the advice plus the $6 million to do it. You couldn't.
Well, we could have done it on
Zoom. Yeah, they could have done that in Zoom. That was a ridiculous show. That was a show for just.
Fine,
that was a campaign rally.
I would have saved. I'm all about saving money, so we could have done it that way.
A new AI actress is sparking outrage among actors in Hollywood. What they say.
I want to address what Art said there. So Pete's highest military rank was a major in the Army National Guard. He was promoted to the rank of major in 2014 before he enlisted in the Individual Ready Reserve. His experience includes 3 deployments after 9/11. He served 11 months in Guantanamo Bay as a Minnesota Army National Guardsman. He was in Iraq from 2005 to 2006, where he served as the infantry platoon leader in Baghdad and a civilian military operations officer in Samarra. And then he was in Afghanistan in 2011 to 2012, where he served as a counterinsurgency instructor in Kabul. So that is his military background. And sometimes you don't have to be the big up on the big rung to get the position. Sometimes a middle guy or the guy on the lower rung gets the shot. So we'll see what he does. So
and sometimes the lower people on the ladder have a different perspective.
Correct. Than those
that make work.
Yep. Because if you don't think those long-term generals and stuff hanging around aren't pissed, you got another thing coming. They're just holding out like hopefully in 4 years Trump will be out and Hegseth will be gone and we can go back to our beards and long hair. So, okay, what do you got up next?
Do we want to do next or do we want to call it? We're at the 2-hour, 7-minute mark.
Do we have how many more negative videos?
1, 2 videos plus the one that I edited because it was absolutely obnoxious. And then we got 3 articles, another video, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 articles after that.
Jeez, well, we could probably look at that tomorrow and trim it down. How long are the next 2 videos?
5 minutes and 4 minutes. Oh no, 5 minutes and 41 seconds.
If you want to do the next 2, and then if we decide if you want to cut it short, we can always cut it short. But
well, like I said, I got the room to myself. I've got the house pretty much to myself. My kids are off in their area.
Okay.
So.
All right.
I'm okay.
Next one.
All right, here's the next one. I think it transitioned over. Yes, it did. All righty, let's hit play.
General, what's your reaction to what we heard so far from the president and the defense secretary?
I'm hard to put together my thoughts on this, Anna, to be honest with you. First of all, I think we ought to address the atmospherics We're talking about a huge American flag behind the speakers. That's reminiscent of the opening scene from the movie Patton, which President Trump has said he absolutely loves. I don't think that
Would
flag
you
is
back up a
normally
little
there
bit,
at the
Crazy
Quantico.
D? Because I want to just announce who this speaker is.
Oh, so go back to the beginning, or
Oh, just back a little bit. They give he's a retired. Just go back a little bit.
um,
Go ahead.
that's him.
Yeah.
From here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Go ahead.
retired commander
Yeah. What's his name?
Mark Hertling.
Okay, so this is retired commander of the U.S. Army Europe, Lieutenant General Mark.
Lieutenant
Hertling.
General.
Yeah, Lieutenant General Mark Hertling. He is giving a negative response to the meeting with Hegseth and Trump.
Mm-hmm.
That's reminiscent of the opening scene from the movie Patton, which President Trump has said he absolutely loves. I don't think that flag is normally there at the Quantico, museum, but we'll see. In terms of what Secretary Hegseth has said, those were anticipated, as well as what the president is doing. It's anticipated. These are the kinds of speeches the president has given at Fort Bragg in front of a roaring group of soldiers who all said they were supporters of his. At West Point, I was there when he gave the graduation address. This is somewhat similar to the speech he gave at the UN. It's somewhat shocking and it's filled with mistruths. And he's addressing a bunch of men and women who serve all over the world, who have firsthand experience in some of the alliances and what he's talking about in terms of warfighting. So I would suspect it's not being taken well. When I first started listening to the speech, I found my mouth open. I just couldn't believe some of the things that were being said to this group of individuals who have such experience.
I just got to say, was he that shocked when he saw Biden with the red blood background and the two military personnel standing?
Oh, you mean the Hitler-esque
Correct.
speech?
Yes. Was he that shocked? Was he that dumbfounded then? I'd be curious.
Probably not.
Because I'll tell you what, having the American flag versus the blood red dropped background,
Backdrop.
and Hitler-esque view, I think are two completely different comparisons.
Yeah. And again, this is what Art was talking about. People who get promoted just to get you out of there. People who get promoted because of political allegiances and alliances or family members. It's not okay at all. And
Nope.
it's always been a problem. It really has. If you have a family that was in the military, you had some better perks sometimes. If you had a family member who was a governor, then yeah, there's going to be a difference when you're ordered to be there. So some of the presidential appearances are by choice, some are not, but these folks were ordered to attend. So they did. And that's why they didn't get up and leave either.
Right, right. Or clap, right? Or
And you got to remember, this isn't their first rodeo. They've been through who knows how many presidential changes.
Right, right.
And they're just like, yep, here's another one. Okay, let's get it started. I want to keep my promotions. I want to keep my paycheck that'll come in from my retirement. That's all this is. This is job security. Cooperating and not making waves is basically the job security in the military.
Right.
So again, it sucks. And this guy is speaking out just because he wants to get his face and his name out there. I would bet you anything.
Mm-hmm. He probably wrote
I'm
a
not
book.
yelling.
He
My
probably
daughter's
wrote a
yelling at
book.
me. Oh, he's probably got a book in the making.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. All right.
And one last thing I'd say, Anna, the thing I've got to stick up for is the defense of the American military. The soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines I've never served with Space Force Guardians, but those four services I've had the opportunity to serve with, not only in combat, but on the joint staff and in various assignments through my career. There are no finer human beings across our force. There is a reason why the other armies of the world say we are the best on the globe. They are well trained, well disciplined, and they swear an oath to the Constitution.
Well trained and well disciplined. How many overweight military members have we seen on TikTok
Uh-huh.
and YouTube Shorts?
How many can't carry 50 pounds or 100 pounds or
A friend with the initials BS used to acknowledge receipts of orders for his commander. The DoD requires initials from somebody in the chain. So yeah, lots of them likely had better things to do.
Yep.
Uh, yeah, this guy's talking whatever he's got to say to be accepted on for a news interview. I think he knows it's all part of the military
Right.
to do
He
stuff.
knows
He
better.
knows.
Yep.
And he also knows, like I said, that our military is not fighting ready. When you have 250-pound, 5'4" women running around in uniform playing soldier
Mm-hmm.
when they've gotten the short pass just so they can fill a quota.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I just don't see how they're going to be able to run 5 miles to get away from insurgents who are coming at them in the desert. I don't see it happening. So
Maybe they'll slip sliding away on the sand.
it's like that bear joke on a t-shirt. You just got to outrun the fat person.
Uh-huh. That's all. Run.
I mean, is that why they have fat people in the military, to hold off the bad guys while the rest escape to fight another day?
Maybe.
Is
Maybe.
it a new tactic?
You stay back, right?
Oh my god, I'm sorry. I shouldn't be making jokes like that, but it's the only thing I can come up with to explain why they have people not in fighting ready
Condition.
form.
Right.
So, all right. Oops.
And I just really find it offensive that anyone is insulting them and claiming that it's their promotions and their advancement through the services are a result of policies or wokeness or DEI, because that's just not true.
But it is true. It
It
has
is.
been for decades,
And how long
generations.
right, and how long has he been retired? That he perhaps doesn't know what the new policies and procedures are. How long has
Oh,
he?
he's probably kept up with it. He's
I
probably
know, but
still in the loop.
being there and being in the loop are two. That's two different things. If he's retired, he may hear talk, but he's not. Once you're gone, you're gone. Once the door hits you in the ass, you're out. You might think you'd like to be kept in, but there's stuff that goes on you don't know about that isn't discussed, that people don't talk about. I mean, how long's he been out? He
That's a good
probably does.
question.
You know what I mean? He probably doesn't know that they had to hire the 5'4", 250-pound woman to meet a quota.
Uh-huh.
Maybe not. He doesn't. He doesn't. He perhaps doesn't see what the orders are that comes down and says you need to bring this into your unit. You're going to get the transit. You're going to get the man in the dress. It's your turn. Sorry, right? I don't know what he sees or how, like I said, but
The way I see it, he sits there and says, "Oh, all these generals and all these people got their promotions legitimately." Bullshit.
Yep.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
political, whatever you want it. Some are
Well, and that's what
political.
Hegseth is changing. He wants it to
Right.
be merit based.
Correct.
Those are my thoughts on what I've heard so far.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that has stood out to me was the focus by the defense secretary on appearance and grooming standards and how much people weigh and how that's such an important priority under.
Oh my God.
She's surprised that that's an important priority.
Yes, and the other thing I want to mention
I'm gonna
too
shut up.
is, remember when you have longer hair, you have a beard, you know, you're going to be in places where you don't get to walk. And what happens when you have long hair?
Lice, rashes, skin infections.
Thank you. Do you have shampoo? Do you have access to, 5 gallons of water to wash your hair and take a bath? Do you?
Sand bath is a thing, but I don't think most people would be comfortable.
Yeah, it needs to be common sense.
Yeah. Well, Art said it. If they had women in combat in the 70s, the lack of a bra, shaving and deodorant would have scared the hell out of the enemy.
Yeah.
You got women with hairy armpits and no bra running at them.
Yep. Yeah. And it'd be
That might have been a good tactic. Ooh, there was that story over in the Philippines. The American military created a fake vampire thing, dead combatants that they had killed. They would make it look like they'd been bit by a vampire and hang them up to drain them from their blood and leave the bodies to be found to scare the hell out of people. And they also had like these ghost audio tracks they would play.
Yeah.
To scare combatants.
And hostile combatants. It did for some people that really believed that stuff.
And the superstitious.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, my thing would be is just, show me a bug. And I would be like, here you go. Here's where here's where we're located. Anything you want, just get the bug away. Yep.
Art says anything above a colonel is appointed position. So yeah, if Obama or Otto Penn liked your politics, you got promoted.
You got promoted. There you go.
I like that Otto Penn.
Otto Penn. Otto Penn did it. Otto did it.
All right, let's get through the last couple moments.
His leadership. This is a gathering, General, that required massive logistics and security risks as well. Military officials told NBC News that there were pricey logistical challenges here. Thousands of people scrambling to make last-minute trips, many from their posts in remote parts of the world. One officer saying just getting through the gate will be hilarious. I mean, the costs are one thing, but what about the risks? And based on what we've heard, what's your assessment on whether this event was worth the risk?
Well, there's been a lot of people making a big issue of the targeting of this facility, given that all of the military commanders, as well as the secretary and probably many of his officials and the president and many of his officials. And you can make an argument for the fiscal cost and the requirements for everybody to get there and get into a hotel and a rental car to get to Quantico. But I think the costs are greater from the standpoint of what the world is seeing and why this event is taking place. This is an unserious conference. Many people don't know, but the president holds a combatant commanders conference twice a year for all of his major combatant commanders. They normally come in, they have 3 or 4 days in Washington together. It's usually classified because people don't want to know that all the 4 stars and their aides are in one area, but they do it twice a year. So I'm still not sure why this event took place. And it certainly is costly, risky for those who are there, but also risky from the standpoint of how people see us around the globe.
Well,
Lieutenant General Mark Hartling, always good to have you with us. It's good to see you. Thank you.
Go ahead.
The fact that he doesn't know why should tell you everything. It's as bad as the previous guests. He does not know why, but yet they're giving him a platform to discuss it, and he has no idea what he's talking about. You know, if he knew, if he knew exactly why it was done, then he could speak to it. But he just admits he doesn't know why it was done, so why should we listen to him? And people will believe him.
Well, if you wanted to know why it was done, it was kind of this whole speech.
Yeah, well, I guess he didn't listen to it. Go lay down.
Something like that, right?
Yep. Go lay down. Go ahead.
Oh. It's just wild how stupid these people are getting.
The lack of any type of effort to even understand what's going on. Not even understand, but at least, because you might not understand what you're seeing or reading, but at least try to get the damn right material and then make your argument. You know what I mean? Make your argument after you know what you're talking about. You know, that'd be like me getting on TV going, so yeah, we have a new lightweight, plastic spaceship that we're going to send to Mars. Yeah, right. Okay. Give me a break.
Well,
Right, crazy
people are
people.
idiots.
Let's finish up with him, or let's move to the next. Are we almost done with him?
He is done.
Okay.
They were just saying the outro crap.
Gotcha.
The
To
next
him.
thing we have up is the positive general, and then starting with tomorrow, we can do the absolute dingus award
Okay. That
winner.
sounds good. All right, so we're going to end this segment with a general that is giving a positive spin on the meeting, and then we will pick up the remaining portions of Pete Hegseth. And I mean, Crazy B, we had a bunch of other stuff to get to.
Oh yeah, we
Okay.
still do. It'll be tomorrow if we can pull it off all tomorrow, because it's less detailed. That we probably won't have as much opinion on it.
Yeah, maybe we should start with that, the other stuff, and then finish up with Hegseth, so
The
we don't
ultimate
lose.
dingus response to
Yeah,
the Hegseth thing.
is that the only? Well, we'll talk about it when we're later today or tomorrow. How you want to
Yeah.
handle that? Okay. I just don't want to lose what we have sitting on the plate, so it doesn't get cold.
Oh yeah, I know. That's why I said I was trying to get through today, but like these idiots and their take on this is just absolutely wild.
I know.
Like,
And
how
this
the
is
fuck
just
are
some
they
of
even
it.
allowed to be journalists?
This is just a couple pieces. This is not everything that is out there.
Yeah, that's what's worse. Is that this is just the snippet ones we've found
I mean,
that were a
yeah.
little more detailed.
Go out on MS Now, as they're known, and look at any Rachel Maddow, Jen Psaki. Go out to anybody on CNN, Abby Phillips. I can't think of the other one's name. Go anywhere out on ABC, NBC, CBS, any single one of those stations. Every single one of them. There's not one positive response to anything that was said. Not one. Good
Well, the
morning.
one guy who was battling the dipshit, dippity do, as you like to call her, who didn't even bother Googling Pete
Right.
Hegseth. You know,
Yep.
he gave some positive feedback,
Yes, he did. But he also
but the
didn't know.
rest of them
Yeah.
were.
But he also didn't know if he was in the military or not.
No,
That
he said that he said he was sure that he was pretty sure. Well,
Yeah.
that's not a fact, but
Right.
he
But again,
he
if
did have that to it.
right. But what I'm suggesting is you're the journalist going on television being paid. I don't know. They probably don't get paid a lot, but you would think you'd do a little bit of due diligence and know what you're talking about and what his background is, and he could have sat right there and Googled it real quick.
Actually, he looked like he was about to reach for his phone to Google it, but
Yeah.
thought twice at one point.
Yeah.
He looked like he was about to grab his phone and Google it. And I'm like, oh, I was hoping he would. Okay, last one is just under 6 minutes.
Today at Quantico Marine Base in Virginia, an unprecedented gathering of American military leaders who were summoned from across the country and the world for a quickly called meeting to hear from the Commander-in-Chief and his Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth. Now, during his speech, President Trump said his administration would fight the, quote, enemy within and increase fitness within the ranks, but he also praised the military's might under his leadership. For more on this, let's bring in retired U.S. Army Major and military analyst Mike Lyons. Thank you so much for joining us, Mike. There was an emphasis on improving the physical fitness of American troops in this address. Is this a legitimate concern for many in our military forces?
Hi, Elizabeth. I think this shift is long overdue, frankly, and normally it comes from the different services themselves. And it's the first time I've seen a Secretary of War make this kind of buck up, let's say. That's what we would call something like this. Usually the services kind of catch themselves, but I guess it's gone on for so long. But no, I welcome it. I think that to come back to the physical aspect of being in the military is very challenging. Now, the standards he's looking to enforce will be job specific. So if you're a Delta Army Ranger, they're going to be one set of standards, likely more difficult than, let's say, clerks or something else doing other jobs. But the bottom line is he's all about standards, reinforcing how you look. You've got to look like you're a soldier, no more beards. So I think overall that's a good thing. It's a net positive because I do believe the military did slip away from that for the past, let's say, generation.
So Secretary Hegseth also brought up this concept of the male standard of fitness, upholding the male standard. Can you clarify that? And would that mean that women would be held to the same standard as men? They would have to essentially run the same distance and speed and also lift the same amount?
But okay.
Yeah, let's a little back to the future. You mentioned 1990. That was the military I came from, and it just had to do with those combat units that we were in. That didn't have females as part of them, and likely it was, first of all, against the law back then, but now the standards, the physical fitness standards that were applied back then will be used today, and that's what he means by that. There was no female standard, for example, back in those combat units then. There'll be just one standard for each different MOS, which is the military occupational specialty. So that's what he was referring to. He's a little bit nuanced about it, and it wasn't about keeping women out of those jobs. If women can meet those standards, they'll be able to do those jobs. They'll still graduate from the military academies, for example, and go on. But the standard will be restored to what it was. There won't be two separate standards for the females, which frankly was lower than the male standards for the past few years.
So there were some concerns about the cost and the security issues that come with bringing this many top generals together from around the world, including combat zones. So what do you think is the benefit, though, of holding sort of a last-minute, unprecedented meeting like this?
Well, first of all, it really wasn't last minute. The generals had it on their calendar for some time. They had ways to prepare for it. I thought it was, again, positive in doing what they did to get to network, get to hear it from the horse's mouth, so to speak, and hear it, get the vibe, sit in the room. I look at the networking. No general officer left their desk in let's say in the Pacific or someplace and came right to that meeting. They networked. They got a chance to probably see family members. They did other things. And so I think it was a net positive. I think it was just so unique that people just were so blown away by it. I thought the comparisons to 1935 and Nazis were embarrassing. But overall, there's things that took place today that a Zoom call wouldn't accomplish. And I thought that every person in that room felt the passion from the Secretary of War with regard to where he wants the military to go.
So you thought this so-called rallying of the troops, not so-called, essentially was a rallying of the troops, bringing them all together. This was way overdue.
I think so, and something that, again, was so unique. It happens at the division level and the corps level. It happens lower when some of those general officers, when they took over their commands, they likely called their leadership together. So it's just never happened at the very top level as we saw it. Ignore the things about security concerns. No one was launching a rocket into that facility or anything like that. That was not going to happen. There was no issue there. The military moves all the time, but it happens at the lower level. What he pulled off was interesting, unique. Maybe we won't see again for a while, but the kind of cultural change that he wants to make, I think, required the kind of meeting that they had.
So what's the reaction that you've heard from the military community so far that came out of this meeting? A lot of people didn't know what to expect. Some people thought it could have been a mass firing.
Right. Yeah, if he had made them sign oaths to the president, then sure, I'd be the first to tell you that that was not the intent of this meeting. But I could tell you this. I heard someone ask a general officer a question. Sir, what do you think of what's going on with the Trump administration right now? And the general officer gave a very direct answer. He said, my job is not to understand how orders are and what I think about them. My job is to execute legal orders. And I think that's what every general officer is doing right now. They got clear intent from this administration with regard to what they want, what they want accomplished. I see that. I work on a military base, so I see that every day, trying to meet the intent of what the commander wants to do. So they're not looking to make past judgment on what's going on. If that order is legal, they're executing civilian control of the military. This is exactly how our Constitution has it, and that's the position that we're in right now. So I think, again, overall, professional salute if that order is legal and they go on.
Okay. Out of everything that I've heard, I have to say I like that the best.
He at least came at it from a positive outlook,
Well,
but he also is maybe trying to get his name out there like the other guy.
that's true, but what I'm suggesting is he said their job is not to do the questioning, but to fulfill what the legal order, as long as it is a legal order, your job is to execute that order.
Yeah.
Right? You're not
And
to
that's again
question
where
it.
half the problem was with the Civil War with Abraham Lincoln ordering the United States military to fire on the Fort Sumter. That's where a lot of people drew the line and said that was not a legal order, and they branched off and created the Confederate Army and the
Right.
Confederate States.
Well,
Again,
how
legal
things go.
orders, and you have the right to fight back.
Mm-hmm. We
So
shall see
yeah,
how
there's
things go.
Yeah, and that's again where history is told us many things. A lot of our troops have done things on orders over the years. Some of it not so good, some of it not so pretty. They got medals for it. A lot of the people in the Afghanistan war under Bush is a prime example. They did horrible and horrific things, but you can't tell me their commanding officer didn't know what the hell they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
If that commanding officer didn't know what was going on, something ain't right.
Well,
And you got to question if he's fit for his position.
correct.
So, yeah, you got to wonder a lot of this. And of course, they throw them under the bus. And then it's just like, well, they did it without permission. And, we spoke to them when or whatever excuse they can get to not get their asses fired. They throw the lowest totem out to the wolves, and that's that.
Right.
And you got to wonder how much of it was a military order and where those orders disappeared to afterwards is a good question. That's again, the soldiers aren't supposed to be running rampant and doing things their way. Everything is done by command. So when I hear something like that, I'm like, yeah, I got to question that one. I got some more questions, and of course, it'll never get answered.
Well, we'll see if we come up with any answers by tomorrow. With that being said, I am at the 9:45 p.m. mark.
Yeah, we've been doing this for 2 hours and 38 minutes.
And I am past my time. The baby will be here before I know it, and yeah.
He's
I'm
adorable.
warning y'all now. I cannot guarantee what 3 p.m. tomorrow will look like, because my man is teething. If I didn't mention it, he's got his first little toothy has popped out, and more are coming. So,
And he's going to start biting people.
well, he already pinches me, so I think that and pulls my hair.
Wait till he's trying to bite the spoon because he's learning how to work his jaw right. That's going to be adorable.
You should
Oh,
see
that's
him,
adorable.
see him try to gum his, he gums like a, old grandpa.
Uh-huh.
With his gums together, trying to get them teeth to come through, but yeah, so we'll see what 3 p.m. brings tomorrow. Pray for me in the morning. We'll see. Hopefully he sleeps. But with that being said, I'm done, Crazy B. I'm tired. I'm going to bed.
I absolutely understand. I need to call it a night as well. But for those who hung around, there is a little hidden picture thing. Feel free to drop an emoji or the word for what it is in the comments after the live. I'll get back to you and let you know if you were right. And we'll just kind of wing it from there. But y'all stay sane, stay safe, stay sober, and we'll catch y'all tomorrow.
Good night.
Good night.